It started on a rainy Tuesday afternoon, the kind of day where the sky stayed dull and heavy, and the world moved just a little slower. The parking lot of Greenstone Auto Gallery was slick with puddles. A pair of shiny black Mercedes sedans sat out front, glinting under soft rain. And through the front doors walked a girl, hood up, sneakers soaked, one hand balancing a toddler on her hip, the other clutching a diaper bag and a bottle half full of formula. She looked 19, maybe 20. Her name was Harper Lane. She wasn't here to window shop. She was here with intent. Not for attention. Not to dream big. She was here to buy. She stepped through the automatic doors into a pristine glass showroom that smelled like leather and ego. A tall man in a slick gray suit at the front desk raised his eyebrows. "Can I help you?" His tone was more suspicion than service. Harper nodded. "Yeah, I saw the new hybrid SUV online. The 2025 model with third-row seating." The man blinked, then blinked again. "And you're here to see it?" Harper nodded. "I want to see the inside, if it folds flat. I got a car seat to fit." He paused, glanced behind her. No one else was with her. No one walking in after. The girl was alone. No wedding ring. A baby on her hip. Wearing, God help them, cheap sneakers and an old hoodie with a coffee stain near the hem. He gave her a tight smile. "Of course. Let me call one of our sales associates." But he didn't. He walked over to the manager's desk instead, whispering something that made the man behind it chuckle. The manager stood. Paul Benson, mid-40s, Rolex, blue suit that cost more than Harper's rent. He strolled over, smile polite, but his eyes already dismissive. "Miss, unfortunately, our premium vehicles are shown by appointment only. We have a lot of interest in the model you're asking about. Perhaps I can direct you to our pre-owned selection just a few blocks away. That may be more appropriate." Harper blinked. "I'm sorry, is the showroom not open?" Paul's tone cooled. "Our inventory isn't just on display. We handle high-end clientele, often with financial pre-qualification in advance." Her baby stirred. She gently bounced him. "I'm not asking for a free sample," she said, calm. "I just wanted to see if the car fits what I need. I've got a budget." Paul smiled, fake, polished. "I'm sure you do, but unless you have proof of funds or a scheduled test drive, I really can't waste my team's time." That did it. A few other customers looked up from brochures. A nearby couple raised their brows. Two young salesmen behind the counter exchanged smirks. Harper's cheeks flushed. She turned without a word and walked out. Her baby still cradled close, tears threatening to spill, but none did. Outside, the rain had slowed to a mist. She stood for a second under the gray sky, staring through the glass at the man who dismissed her. And then she whispered, "Okay. You'll see me again." The Collins estate sat on the edge of the city, past the gates where the air smelled like pine trees and silence. It wasn't flashy. Not like the penthouses in Midtown or the coastal mansions in Malibu. It was quiet luxury. Old brick, tall windows, and rolling gardens that went on forever. Harper pulled into the long driveway in her scratched-up Toyota Corolla, tires squealing slightly as they rolled to a stop beneath the circular entry. She didn't even make it to the front steps. The door opened, and out came Julian Rothschild. 6'2", rolled-up sleeves, dark, tousled hair, and worry on his face. He rushed toward her the second he saw her expression. "What happened?" Harper unbuckled her baby, who was already dozing, and handed him over gently. Then she finally let herself breathe. She didn't cry, but her voice cracked. "I was humiliated. Julian froze. Where? Greenstone Auto. I went to look at the SUV for Liam, just to see if the seat fit. Julian's eyes darkened. They didn't even ask my name, just told me to go to the used lot like I was some kid playing dress-up. He looked down at her, the mother of his child, his fiancée, the woman who had stayed when no one else did, who had stood by him long before Forbes covers and IPOs. Julian gently kissed her forehead. They're going to regret that. The next morning was cloudless. Still. Too perfect. Paul Benson adjusted his cufflinks at the dealership's front counter. He was meeting a celebrity agent later, maybe landing a sale on 2 Bentleys. His voice rang out across the showroom. Let's keep an eye on anyone wandering in today, yeah? Especially dreamers. His laugh echoed. At 10:16 a.m., a sound cut through the room like thunder. Not music, not a phone. A Rolls-Royce Phantom, sleek, black, and humming like a panther, glided into the dealership circle. Its presence turned heads instantly. Shiny silver rims, matte black trim, no plates, just power. Out stepped a chauffeur in white gloves. And then, Harper. Hair pulled back. Simple jeans. Crisp white tee. Baby bag still on her shoulder. But this time, she was followed by Julian Rothschild, the billionaire, the CEO, the one whose name built tech campuses and crushed market indexes. Julian's hand rested on her back as they entered the glass doors. Calm, collected, but his jaw was tight. Paul blinked, confused, until recognition dawned, and with it, horror. Julian spoke first. I'm looking for the sales manager who sent my fiancée to the used car lot. Paul stood still, pale, sweat beginning to bead under his collar. Mr. Rothschild, I had no idea she was... No, you didn't, Julian said coolly. You saw a hoodie and a diaper bag and decided she didn't matter. I assure you, sir, Julian raised a hand. Let me finish. He turned to the showroom. This is Harper Lane. She's the mother of my child, the woman I'm building my future with, and the person who walked in here yesterday, prepared to pay cash for your most reliable vehicle. Silence fell like thunder. Julian's voice dropped. Instead, she was laughed at, mocked, dismissed. The receptionist covered her mouth. Julian looked directly at Paul now. We came back to show you something. Paul stammered. What's that? Julian stepped forward, inches from his face. That you never know who you're speaking to, until the next morning when their chauffeur parks a $500,000 car outside your glass doors. The silence was deafening. Paul Benson stood frozen. A man who usually thrived on words now had none. His face twitched with discomfort as staff and customers all stared. No one was laughing anymore. Harper stood by the entrance, baby in one arm, completely composed. She didn't need to say anything. She had already said everything with her grace. Julian adjusted the cuff of his dark blazer. I came here today not to embarrass you, he said, tone crisp, but to educate you on who holds power and who deserves respect. Paul finally spoke, voice strained. Mr. Rothschild, I deeply apologize. I'll personally make this right. Julian's lips pressed into a tight line. You don't get to make it right, he said. You had your chance yesterday. His gaze swept over the other salesmen. All of you should be reminded. Wealth doesn't always look like a tailored suit. Sometimes it looks like a single mom in sneakers, the kind of woman who shows up even when no one gives her a reason to. Julian turned to the receptionist, Amber, who had smiled kindly the day before. You treated my fiancé with respect, he said. Because of that, I'd like to offer you a job, Director of Guest Relations at Rothschild Motors, starting salary 6 figures. Her jaw dropped. Sir, I don't know what to say. Say yes. Paul watched in disbelief as the girl he'd barely noticed became the one getting the opportunity of a lifetime. Then Julian turned back to him. As for you, I hope next time you meet someone like Harper, you look past their shoes. Harper stood outside the dealership now, Liam sleeping quietly in his carrier. She looked at Julian, who was tapping something into his phone. Did you really need to bring the rolls? She asked, raising an eyebrow. He glanced over and smirked. What, too subtle? She laughed under her breath. I didn't want revenge, she said. I know, Julian replied. You wanted to walk away quietly. I just didn't want anyone else to feel what I felt yesterday. Julian stepped closer, brushing a strand of hair from her face. And that's why I love you. He kissed her forehead. Behind them, the doors to the dealership slowly shut. Paul's figure, still visible, slumped at his desk. A man humbled not by money, but by truth. 1 month later, at the grand opening of Rothschild Motors' family auto division, had all the usual press. But one image went viral. A young woman cutting the ribbon while holding her baby, smiling with her fiancé at her side. The caption, designed by a mother, built for families. Harper wasn't just the face of a new campaign. She was now leading the design division, using her voice to shape vehicles with real parents in mind. Safety, comfort, affordability. People from around the country reached out. Moms, teens, caregivers, all of them saying the same thing. Thank you for showing us we're not invisible. A few weeks later, a letter showed up at Greenstone Auto. It wasn't official. It wasn't dramatic. It was handwritten. Dear Paul, maybe you'll remember me. Maybe not. I came in looking for a car. You showed me the back door. I came back, so no one else would ever feel like I did. And I hope that matters more than a sale ever will. Harper Lane. Paul stared at the letter for a long time, then folded it, quietly placing it in his drawer, next to his unused platinum sales plaque. Some people say respect is earned. Some think it's reserved for titles, net worth, or polished appearances. But Harper Lane knew better. She earned it not by demanding it, but by walking out with her head held high and returning the next day, not with fury, but with truth. Because sometimes, the greatest statement isn't revenge. It's proving that your quiet worth was louder than their arrogance.